When I tell you that this man should be fired and banned from the Red Keep and canceled and arrested and everything that they can do, I mean it. Because Kristen Cole is on my bad list. But I'll explain why after we get into all the, season 1/season 2, episode 1 drama that we have to. So welcome, y'all. It's your captain for all things creative coming at you with a House of the Dragon season 2 episode 1/season 1 mini review. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you're returning, thanks for rocking with us. We talk about a lot of things, and now we got to talk about House of the Dragon because this new season is good. So this new season started June 16th, but if you had been following the books, you would have read the story, which I did a while ago, and you would have seen season 1 since 2022, right? So they had a little break, but they came back wonderfully. And the opening episode, the opening scene, you see Rhaenyra, or Team Black, have her son Jace basically visiting the North to get them to, keep their oath and bend the knee. Why? So we got to talk about season 1, especially for people who have not, seen it, and maybe who I can convince to watch it. I will say it's not for the weak. It's not for, people who don't appreciate just savage strategy and war stories and fantasy, because this is that, but it's very entertaining, and the actors are eating. Okay, the actors are superb in the show. So why is Jace in the North having these Starks tell him that they're gonna keep their oath and climbing up the wall? The reason is there was a king named Viserys who had a daughter in his youth named Rhaenyra, and he was grooming her to be queen, especially since he didn't really have any sons. And once her mother dies in childbirth, her friend Alicent, who was the daughter of the king's hand, is basically pimped out to Viserys. Otto Hightower, who was Alicent's dad, he is very much someone who's very ambitious. As the hand, he has power, but you can always tell that he always wants more, and he sees pimping his daughter out to the king as a way to have a deeper hold on the goings on of Westeros, and he just wants to give his shadow government vibe even stronger. And his plans to pimp his daughter work because the king does take a liking to Alicent. She ends up having sons for him, which is the beginning of this rift between the Greens versus the Blacks. You're going to always hear about this when they talk about House of Dragon, the Greens versus the Blacks. Black side is Rhaenyra, the queen that Viserys always intended to rule. He taught her all the things that he knew about, the bigger picture that she needs to keep, because he's had, dreams and special knives passed down to him to fight the White Walkers in the future, but they don't know about the White Walkers and all that stuff yet. So he just knows that being a ruler is something I take really, really seriously, and he knows that Rhaenyra has what it takes, and he's been giving her all the secrets and all the dreams and the weapons and all that to move forward. So he never wavered in, thinking that Rhaenyra was right for the job. But Alicent, just because she had children that were born with penises, she was like, no, they're men, they're supposed to rule. But that's not what it took for Viserys. Viserys wanted someone to have full knowledge, and he passed on all the full knowledge to Rhaenyra. So Alicent and her sons represent Team Green. Her sons, Aegon and Aemon and all of them, they don't know anything about, the White Walkers and the dreams. They don't got the little knife that was passed on. They don't have anything but penises and ambition. And when Viserys, gets old, he still makes basically the whole realm swear an oath that, they're gonna bow to Queen Rhaenyra. But he has kind of like a fever dream moment in his deathbed where he's trying to explain about, the dreams that his ancestor had about the future, and there's mad people named Aegon involved. And Alicent, she's also ambitious too on the low, even though she hides it and act like she's fake pious. But she hears Viserys talking about Aegon on his deathbed. She's like, oh, he does want Aegon to be king. So they use Viserys' death and this little fever dream mumble to prop up Aegon and her little green tribe to rule and take over the Red Keep. So when season 1 pops off, Rhaenyra and her black stronghold moves to Dragonstone, and she sends her sons, Jacaerys or Jace, and the one that passed. I can't even talk about him. They send him to the south, or like to the Stormlands, to go ask people to bend the knee. And basically Jace makes it and successfully gets, the Starks to pledge allegiance. And again, this scene, it was so cool in the beginning because there was the old throwback to the, the elevator on the wall and the Night Watch, and made me think of Jon Snow and all those, Game of Thrones moments that were iconic. And also, if you read the books, you know that the North and the Starks, they play a huge role in the end of the war, sealing the deal for Team Black. Not, to give too many spoilers, but the Starks in the North, they thorough. Them little gray beards that he promised Jace are important, and the North is important, in the grand scheme and the victory that the Blacks, deserve. But even though I was getting good vibes and good feelings seeing Jace, talk to the Starks and be on the wall, they get a raven. He learns that his brother got eaten and got by Aemond. And when, he hears this, obviously it's devastation, and we see Rhaenyra is devastated. So Team Black is down bad. They lost a son, but Daemon, Rhaenyra's uncle, husband, wants a son for a son. He wants war. When he sees, Rhaenys, he's like, let's ride out, let's go kill Aemon. She's like, no, stop. Rhaenyra's grieving. She's the queen. She has to, cool her head and figure out what to do. So in the beginning of the episode, Daemon is the main one that wants revenge. Rhaenyra's just in shambles. Jace had a big victory in getting, the North, the Starks and the Vale, all of them to, stay loyal. So Team Black, they're up in the political / diplomatic sense, but they're down because, again, they lost a son. And Daemon wants a son for a son. So Team Green side now, you see that Alicent, she's such a hypocrite. And her and Kristen Cole get on my ever-living. This man, instead of doing his job, guarding people, protecting the castle, he's caught slipping several times in this episode. So the first time he's caught slipping is before this meeting, a council meeting, and he's literally being a munch. And Alicent, she's supposed to be having some meeting with Larys, but Larys is also nasty. There was a meme around that, he kind of wants to be the hand, and while he wants to be the hand, Alicent is the feet that he wants because he loves her feet. He got a little foot fetish, and he does anything for Team Green and Queen Alicent just to look at her feet. But he didn't have access to her feet because Kristen Cole has access to everything with Alicent. She gonna lie and say, oh, they're not gonna, do anything again at the beginning of the episode. But when stuff hits the fan, Kristen Cole is nowhere to be found. He's not protecting none of the children or nobody that needs protecting because him and Alicent are hypocrites and they're creeping around in the castle when they should be taking this war seriously. And that's on, period. So another major aspect of the episode, especially in terms of the green camp, besides Allison and Christian being the worst humans, is Aegon. You get to see, what he's like as king. His sister wife and him, have a bunch of kids, literally 2. They have a daughter and a son, and he loves this son, Jaehaerys, even though we will not forget how he been sleeping around all throughout the kingdom, and a lot of his other kids ended up in child fighting pits, and they live in squalor and horror, so before people start to get excited about him as man of the year, just know, like a lot of the patriarchal, kyriarchal men, he loves Jaehaerys because Jaehaerys is going to be his ruler, his, extension of his self in terms of like carrying on his legacy. So he, I think, is really frustrated because, again, his dad didn't tell him anything. He was giving Rhaenyra all the secrets and grooming Rhaenyra, to be the next ruler. So he is grooming Jaehaerys to be the next ruler, and he also is peeping game that Otto Hightower is low-key running everything because he's excited to be king. It's new, and when he has his little audiences with the people, every time he tries to make a decision and talk to the people, Otto Hightower's butting like, nah, bad idea, you can't do that, everybody's hearing what you're saying, you can't give people they sheet back. If you give one person their sheet back, everybody's gonna want stuff back from us. And he kind of takes a little stand when it comes to the ironworkers who are making the scorpions that they need to shoot dragons, because this is Targaryen time, so the needles are kind of like these big missiles with points that are effective against dragons, and without those they can't defend against Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, Daemon, all these people that got dragons. So he takes a stand against Otto Hightower. It's like, no, we are going to pay the iron people who are making our weapons, because we can't win the war without weapons. We can't win the war without the small folks. And Larys, the guy who's obsessed with Aegon's mom's feats, is peeping all this because he's very cunning. And again, he do anything for them feats of Alicent. He just starts to ear hustling, listening to the little rift between Otto and Aegon, and he starts telling Aegon, listen, that man Otto Hightower, he was your dad's hand. He don't have to be your hand. And you're very good with the people. You understand the people, you got a heart for the people, and that's what you need for a war. And it seems like you want to be seen differently. So you could tell Larys is putting in his hat to be the next hand and to get rid of Otto. And I don't mind the Greens knocking each other out. They could all knock each other out. Better for Rhaenyra and the Blacks, because I'm Team Black if you haven't, figured it out already. Meanwhile, on Team Black side, Rhaenyra finally gets what she needs to fully process and grieve her son's death. She finds a little wing of his dragon in his little hoodie on the beach somewhere, so they have a little funeral. I didn't see no food at the funeral, but everybody brought a little trinket of the child that passed. They put it in the fire, and then after the funeral, Rhaenyra gives her one line. She only had one line this episode, but she acted her tail off, trying to misgender them. But Emma Darcy, they acted their tail off this whole episode, because they did not have one line, but you could feel all their emotions. The denial at first, the heartbreak when they found the dragon, and then the comforting Jace when he was trying to be strong and give his report. I'm also between they and she, because Emma plays a woman, Queen Rhaenyra, so Queen Rhaenyra, she's comforting her son, but Emma Darcy, they're getting all the emotions. It's like amazing. And after this feud, you're gonna see Allison trying to say she burning candles for, their side, I guess, feeling sorry about it, but she not sorry. Again, she a hypocrite. And once the feud is finished, and Rhaenyra says that she wants Aemon, like she's ready to fight, she's ready to have a son for her son too. They're all on the same page. Then you gonna see Daemon, her husband, uncle, get information from the White Worm, Massaria, about who and who they could use to infiltrate the Red Keep. And this is where the infamous blood and cheese stuff happens. So Blood and Cheese, they're two people that don't really like the High Towers that much, and they do anything for money. One is a rat catcher. One is a guard as well. But once they see Daemon's coins, their true feelings come out. They're like, yeah, we don't like the High Towers anyway, and we like money. So we are going to do your dirty work. And they agree they're going to get a son for a son. So the rat catcher knows all the tunnels and whatnot up in the Red Keep. And of course, Kristen Cole is not doing his job. Now, the rat catcher, he knows like the ground level, but he don't really know the upstairs level because he's not supposed to be up there. But the guard guy, he's like, listen, we got to get this money. He gave us half. Daemon wants a son for a son. We got to get a son for a son. So by the time they go upstairs, to their surprise, there's no guards. There is a guard up there, Kristen Cole, and I guess everybody in the castle think that he's up there for patrolling, but what is he doing? He is patrolling Allison's bed because, again, he's caught slipping again, literally slipping and sliding, creeping with Allison, while Blood and Cheese find a Charon's room. Helena's there with, the future heirs to the Black Throne, Aegon's son and daughter. I believe in the book, Blood and Cheese ask the mother Helena, to pick which one, she's gonna let them get, because, the book is different from the show in a lot of ways. The book is actually a little more skeletal. Like, they tell you kind of like the most word of mouth, bare bones version of what happens. And the show is actually cool because of the room that the book leaves, they get to make a lot of dramatic interpretations to fill in the gaps of what happens. But in this case, I think because it was so gruesome, they decreased the information that was given in the story, because I believe in the story they made Helena choose which child got, and she chooses one, but then they leave that one alive and they get the other one, and so everybody's traumatized because it's like, not only does Helena lose a child, but then the other child knows that they were chosen to be sacrificed. So all of them is messed up after this event. But in the show, they basically just have Helena show them the right one from the start, because they asked specifically for the male so that they have the son for a son. And then she runs away with the other child to Allison's room, and you see Allison with her hypocritical self riding Sir Kristen, and she just tells them they got the boy, and it's very sad. And again, Sir Kristen needs to be fired. He's supposed to be protecting them children, protecting them people. It's wartime, so obviously Daemon is a very shrewd war person. Rhaenyra done lost her son. The blacks is doing what the blacks gotta do because they got usurped. I think it's all terrible in the grand scheme of things. But at the end of the day, Sir Kristen could have stopped them people, especially the rat catcher. Them people did not really know how to defend against this super trained Kingsguard like that. He could have definitely got the rat catcher for sure. And maybe he would have a little fight against the King's Guard man, but at the end of the day, he didn't even defend at all. So I'm mad at him. And I think the season's going to be fabulous now. And yeah, just say your thoughts. And remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul.